Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Obehi. I was actually thinking I will introduce myself properly, but with respect to marketing, I I got involved in marketing research in my first degree, and it was my final year when I carried out a study on, you know, production and marketing of vegetables. And it actually opened up my eyes. So, and it also, like channeled my interest to marketing because, after I weighed the production aspect and the marketing aspect, and I saw that marketing research, of course, we know that production is not complete except it gets to the hand of the final consumer, and that also takes us to marketing. So, in my master's degree, that now gave me, like the opportunity to do my master's and my PhD in agricultural, food and agricultural marketing, actually. And yeah, so my project work was also, has always been in marketing. I did a work on marketing of wood charcoal in Southeast Nigeria. And it was a very scholarly research, which was already published at the Canadian, one of the Canadian issues there in 2013. Yeah, so I also saw that there's huge opportunity. There's huge a wide gap in marketing research because the whole aspect of business hinges on marketing. Because after production, the what happens after production of an agro or even any commodity is marketing, is distribution. So every activity, every process that talks about adding value, transportation, moving an item, moving a produce or commodity from the place of production, which is the farm gate for agro commodities, to where they are needed, is all about marketing. Recently, I looked back and I saw that actually done, I have, touched on various classes of agro commodities, and I've also looked at the marketing of those commodities, like from the cereal to the leguminous to the um, even the livestock, and even to fishery and to forestry. Yeah, those aspects of the agriculture sector of an economy. I've carried out researches in that area, so it's quite interesting that um, we the researches that even from farm management, from resource and environmental economics, from even from international economics, um, and other aspects of economics,
Quite sure.
takes us to marketing. Because even in international economics, we have an aspect that promotes trade among nations. And even in this era of free trade area agreements, there's a lot of issues that surrounds marketing, and that takes us to policy. So policies surrounding food and agricultural marketing is also a very important area, which we always recommend for policy during as at the end of such researches. And that's also quite interesting for the government, uh, for the non-government agencies, for even the international community or international investors in an economy, and then also the private investors. The right strategy I will talk about is, of course, first of all, we have to understand that, in order to strategize for research and marketing in agribusiness, we have to look at experiential marketing, which considers very effective for most actors. The actors in the marketing research, the wholesalers, the retailers, and sometimes we have those who engage in brokering activities, which could touch on the commission men, sometimes rural assemblers, and of course, we are talking about agro commodities. So it has to be activity, those actors that are not, mainly those actors that are engaged in perishable. Agriculture, food and agricultural commodities are highly perishable. They are, high value crops, and most times they're high value crops, yeah, and they are also seasonal. So along the value chain or along the distributive chain, they rely on results from trials to make their decisions. So those strategies has to surround this,
Well, the question of perishable is an argument that is very important, especially when we are considering agricultural products in Africa. Of course, if you are maybe living in other parts of the world, in some other parts of the world, maybe say in the West, if you are looking for apple, you will have it all year round. If you are looking for orange, you will have it all year round. But if you are considering some places like in Africa or maybe in Nigeria to be specific, sometimes you find it difficult to have apple at a certain season because they tell you it is finished because we don't have a robust way of conserving this material so that we can have it all year round. So maybe that is something that we can also look at in another way. Now, looking at research and marketing, I think the question of data will automatically become very important here. So how do you get your data for market analysis?
Yeah, very important question for an academic and a researcher like myself. Let me just give you, tell you the story of my master's research, because my master's research was an eye-opener. I didn't go to source for secondary data. I went, data can be primary or secondary. And I went for primary data, and going for primary data can be very cumbersome. It can also, or you can describe it as being very Herculean. Depending on the type of research. For the type of my research, it was quite Herculean because I was, dealing with wood charcoal producers. I had to get data from the production side and also from the marketing side, and it was, quite a very huge task for me. The way I did it was, I had to deploy the resources of research assistants or enumerators. And, of course, I had already, developed my I have structured my questionnaire, and I had to, articulate the questions to suit the purpose of the research. That is the goal or objective of the research. And my research was, I needed to do what we call time series data. I had to collect data on a daily basis, not cross-sectional data. You just go and collect data from them, irrespective of the, the timing. So, but my own type of research was, at that instance was time series. And, time series analysis is very, it uses, it's not all the packages of statistical research that can analyze such a research. So it was quite Herculean. And, but at the end of the day, the research came out and it was very productive. I also did that same type of, sourcing of primary data for my PhD programs. And I have also mentored students. I've also, in fact, I'm still supervising students on all of that. Cross-sectional, if, like we encourage students to either use, like at the moment, we are encouraging our first degree students to do researches that will, will involve them using the primary data so that they will have that experience, direct contact with the farmers, because, not just for secondary data to just, stay in your room and go to FAO to give you data, or you do for the World Bank, or you even use the National Bureau of Statistics or the Central Bank of Nigeria, to source for data, depending on, the aspect of study. Yeah, so, but we still encourage, like, there are some researches that involves lots of, some parametric analysis, and you need to deploy the resources of a statistician who will help you to follow the already developed methodology in your, that has already been proposed during your seminar. So can I say that we encourage our students in their surveys, because sometimes they do survey researches, sometimes they do case study researches, and but mostly they do survey researches. And for those who do case study researches, like those for the higher degrees, we also encourage them, and we encourage them in their sampling, the procedure of sampling. Most times our students and researchers, not just students, they don't really understand, that aspect. They find it so technical. They find it very difficult for them, and we have to deploy every, every teaching skill to make them to understand. Most times they want to use, a multi-stage sampling method, or they use a simple random sampling method. And sometimes they also use purposive when it comes to do with, of course, you have to declare why you are using purposive sampling method. There must be a reason, and it must be stated in your work for doing that, particularly, among, like, if you want to do research with respect to, okay, you have a purpose for a particular, research, or a particular, objective, then that is telling you that your methodology has to carry the purposive. So sometimes methodologies can carry more than one type of procedure for sampling, depending on the nature of the sampling method that is employed. Now, if we are employing sampling method, you do that sometimes among clusters, and also of course the whole idea of research is to publish research, is to recommend for policy, is to make, is to bring about change. Remember, I remember when I was explaining about science and technology. What is the whole idea of science? Is searching for knowledge. So yeah, so I will stop there, but I always encourage anyone who is going into an agro research, whether for those who are in the lab, because sometimes researches, agro researches are in the lab, and they do a lot of laboratory type of analysis. They weigh their samples, they leave it for a while, or even in the farm, they may be depending on the crop they are working or the livestock, so they keep taking daily readings, and that is not this type of research, which is empirical. I had explained about empirical type of research that demands, or that requires the researcher to get to the field and meet with the researchers. In fact, that is where my expertise is main. That is for field researches and not the science, not the research done in the lab. Sometimes we also, incorporate the lab own, depending on the nature of the research. Yeah, for instance, if the research entails, an aspect of technology, we can actually, do some research with respect to maybe bioinformatics, nanotechnology, biotechnology. We are trying, maybe trying to bring in, fourth industrial revolution, or IT in research. It could, have some elements of the laboratory and also of the empirical as well.